Hi, this is your Angel 7 Rachel. Coming on to talk with someone who actually brought up a really serious topic yesterday and was so distraught and so upset she couldn't even find words because it's an incredibly disturbing subject matter. And it's just breaking her heart. And a lot of times when you come on YouTube, it's to open up a discussion and a dialogue with people and a way to find support and see how other people view things and talk about all different kinds of things. And so that's how I'm coming on today about this. Because a lot of times when you find something either in your life or in the media that just trips a wire in your heart or in your mind that brings you off center and really challenges you, it really is a test of your faith, and it's also an opportunity for you to look at who you are and who other people are in the world, and find what you really think and how you feel about things. So it's an opportunity also to let go of some of those tripwires, I guess, or buttons, if you want to call them that. Because I found for me that if I've let myself get too far, off track of who I am, if I let other people determine how I'm going to act by their actions being the reason that I've chosen to do something, then I've lost myself, and then it's not a very comfortable place to be. So I wanted to talk about what I do for myself in my own mind when I come across a particular situation like that, because it might be of help to someone else, and if you're interested, great. If you're not, then find another video. So one of the things first that was discussed had to do with capital punishment, and that never before having finding a reason that was ever acceptable, that after hearing about this particular crime this individual was accused of, that she could finally actually see how that would be applicable as a standard to contain that person from the rest of society and not have to, withdraw from the bank of human kindness. That if we kept that person alive in jail all the time, that they're not even worth the space of air and breath that they're taking. In Judeo-Christian culture, with the Mosaic law of capital punishment and how that came to be, and the way that I look at it, and how that has a place or doesn't have a place in our society today. As far as capital punishment goes, I really think, in the sense of how it was meted out in Mosaic law, and this is just my opinion, it was a symbol for the representation of not the physical death of the person. Obviously it ended in that always, but it was also because that person inside had died long ago. And what I mean by that is their conscience, their connection with higher creator, their connection with other people, being that they had already done that, severed those ties or set themselves separate and apart from God and the rest of society, or however you want to view it, that then it was time to also make society safe, because with them not keeping any sort of behavior that was safe to be around other people, that we then had to make sure that we would. Now, I know in certain societies that people were simply banished, and that's well and good if the earth is large enough. But it is certainly not that way in our society and in our world today. And I understand why that particular, or I have an idea why that particular heinous crime could be thought of as a reason for capital punishment, because to many people, what that individual has been accused of, there's nothing more horrific that could be imagined. The only thing that I have a caution for in deciding that for myself, and I don't know if I have a problem with, leaving the state of Florida to take care of that, because they obviously didn't do a good enough job the first time, which is very deeply disturbing in and of itself. That once I've put myself on that level of thinking that that person, that individual, if you don't want to call him a person, I understand, is anything different than me, once I begin to find the reasons why that person is not worthy of love, then wider and wider grows that separation. And within that separation, I find I have pulled myself away from God, because that person is connected to God just as much as me, no matter that they don't want to acknowledge it. And even if they don't want to have anything to do with me or God. And that's just a place that I find for myself I don't want to be. So when I look at those kinds of situations, I walk a very careful line to both keep my boundaries safe, obviously, and to remember for myself that no matter what that person has done, whether or not they've ever come to cognition of apology or not, it doesn't matter, because I still, of my own accord, I choose to see that person, the part of God inside that person, just as much as the ones whom I enjoy. It's understandable that some people make it very difficult for us to love them. Why they do that, we all do that to whatever degree. And not to minimize at all what he did, or, this poor baby infant has had to endure, which God only knows the pain of that child's life, hoping that he survives and in good health, mental, physical, and spiritual. I set it as a standard for myself. I find it incumbent upon me to remember that that person is a child of God as much as I am, even though I really don't want to. And that is the hardest thing in the world, definitely. But there again, peace isn't only for those with whom we agree. It's for everyone. And when I find myself in those situations where, oh my gosh, that's the worst thing I could imagine, beyond my imagination actually, and I find myself building that ladder, that chasm, that bridge of separation, I just remind myself that the more that I do that, the further I'll build away myself from God, and then I will be just exactly like that person in my heart, closing off my heart, holding love away, pushing away blessing. And I want you to know that, I have my own forgiveness to ask for about all different kinds of things. So, it's not like I think I'm perfect or anything like that. I'm not setting myself up to say that at all. And I'm also not saying this to say that you should have this too. I'm just telling you what I do with it, because, when you find out something so disturbing and you know that somebody else is struggling with something else that's, really hard to deal with, it's good to go back and forth. So I hope that you find some peace about this, because there is peace to be found, but it's just not the one that we expect it to be sometimes. So thank you for bringing up this topic as far as letting us know. I might be moving to Florida soon, so that kind of interested me just because of that. I want you to know I'm thinking about you, and I wish you bright blessings. Take care.